A celestial object is pushing toward our neighborhood, and it's doing something that has researchers whispering the words they almost never say out loud. We don't have a clean explanation. They're calling it Three-Eyed Atlas, Tree-Eye Atlas for short, an interstellar visitor with a strange green glow and a track record of breaking expectations. Telescopes across the planet are locked on. NASA and the European Space Agency are pulling every bit of data they can from ground-based observatories and space assets. And the UN's International Asteroid Warning Network is watching too, officially as protocol, not panic. But the level of attention tells you everything you need to know. Because Tri-Eye Atlas isn't behaving like a comet, not even close. When a typical comet swings in, sunlight warms its surface and it vents gas. Outgassing acts like tiny thrusters, sure, but it follows patterns we can model. A normal comet develops a tail that points away from the sun. It brightens at a predictable rate. It sheds a halo of gas and dust that shows up clearly in spectra. The physics is messy, but it's familiar. Tri-Eye Atlas is not familiar. First came the acceleration. Scientists say it's speeding up, but not in the way solar pressure would cause and not in a way that matches ordinary outgassing. Then came the course changes, slight, erratic nudges that look less like a passive object being pushed by sunlight and more like something adjusting itself in steps. And now the anomaly that has every skywatcher leaning closer to their screens, an anti-tail, a jet of dust and gas seemingly pointing toward the sun, not away from it, like the object is shedding something in the wrong direction. Nothing in known physics explains it cleanly. Not solar wind, not rotation, not gravitational drag, not without stacking assumptions until the explanation becomes a tower of maybes. The green glow is what people notice first. It burns brighter than expected, an emerald wound across the telescope feeds, beautiful and wrong at the same time. In the raw images, it looks almost like it's lit from within. Astronomers have seen green comets before, yes, often from diatomic carbon or cyanogen under sunlight, but Tri-Eye Atlas doesn't match the usual chemical fingerprints. The brightness rises in bursts, like it's pulsing, then settles, then pulses again. Not a steady ramp, not a smooth curve. Bursts. And then there's the mass problem. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb has argued that when an object shows non-gravitational acceleration, the first honest step is to measure how much mass it should be losing if outgassing is responsible. In other words, if a comet is pushing itself forward by spraying gas, it pays a price. It should be shedding a substantial fraction of its body, and it should be wrapped in an obvious cloud. Loeb has suggested that in some cases the math implies a significant loss, something like 10% to 20%, and yet the expected gas signature doesn't always appear the way we'd anticipate. Tri-Eye Atlas leans into that controversy like it was designed to. If it's a natural comet, it should be bleeding material in a way our instruments can't miss. The coma should be thick. The spectral lines should scream. But instead, the readings look thin, unsteady, inconsistent from one observation window to the next, almost like the object is switching behaviors depending on angle and distance, the way a rotating lighthouse changes what you see without changing what it is.
NASA officials in this scenario are careful with language. They stress there is no danger to Earth. The closest approach remains vast. The object is currently estimated around 269 million kilometers away, far beyond any immediate threat zone. ESA's intensified observation campaign is framed as standard science and prudent tracking. The UN network's involvement is labeled routine, calm, measured, professional. But here's the thing. When agencies move to constant monitoring, they do it for a reason. Because the data is not just interesting, it's uncomfortable. One set of researchers points to natural explanations that could still fit. Unusual geometry, an icy body with pockets of volatile gases venting in uneven jets, dust grains that scatter light in a way that mimics a green flare, an anti-tail that could be a perspective effect when Earth crosses the object's orbital plane. All plausible, all real phenomena we've seen in pieces before. But Tri-Atlas isn't giving us pieces. It's giving us a collage. Another group, some with ties to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, argues that objects like Tri-Atlas force science to keep an open mind. Not to leap to conclusions, but not to dismiss questions either. They point out that interstellar already means it was born under a different sun, in a different chemistry, with a history we can't reconstruct. And when something comes from the deep between stars, it may carry properties we've never had to model before. Then someone asked the most unsettling question of all. What if it isn't just a chunk of rock and ice? Not aliens in the movie sense. Not a flying saucer, not a little green pilot. Something subtler, something colder. Something that could exist without caring whether we ever notice. A probe, a sail, a relic, a piece of engineered debris, or a natural object so rare it only looks artificial because our catalog of normal is too small. Here's where the mystery deepens in the most spine-prickling way, because there are things science still can't fully explain, even when nothing is engineered. We don't truly know what the interstellar medium does to a body over millions of years, how micro-impacts sandblast it, how cosmic rays rewrite its surface chemistry, how magnetic fields and charged dust might alter how it bends, spins, and charges. We don't fully understand how porous ices behave when heated after eons of deep freeze. We don't have a complete map of what kinds of exotic compounds can form in cold molecular clouds and survive a star-to-star journey. We barely understand why some comets fragment suddenly while others hold together like iron. And we definitely don't have a final answer for why a few visitors seem to accelerate in ways that make our models sweat. Tri-Atlas in this fictional broadcast becomes the perfect mirror for our ignorance. It doesn't threaten our planet, it threatens our certainty. As it flashes past, it will not slow down, it will not return. Whatever secrets it carries, natural or otherwise, we'll leave with it unless we learn to read them fast enough. And that's the real tension. Not impact risk, not apocalypse, but opportunity. A brief moment when the universe slides a strange letter under our door, and we have only a handful of nights to decipher the handwriting. Because maybe the scariest possibility isn't that Tri-Atlas is intelligent. Maybe the scariest possibility is that it's completely ordinary, in a part of reality we haven't learned to describe yet. For a brief moment, the cosmos is knocking, and science is listening. And now I want to hear from you. What do you think Tri-Atlas really is? An unusual natural object? A rare physics case we haven't modeled? Or something that deserves a deeper kind of caution? Drop your take in the comments, and if you want more stories like this, where astronomy meets the edge of the unknown, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video.